herzlich willkommen bei whisky.de, dem Treffpunkt feiner Geister. Und ich bin heute immer noch bei Isle of Harris. Wenn ihr so ein bisschen die Geschichte haben wollt, müsst ihr euch den Anfang von der Isle of Harris von dem Whisky-Video anschauen. Ich gehe heute mal ein bisschen jetzt auf den Gin ein. Also Isle of Harris macht auch einen Gin und bei dem, ja, der ist ein bisschen interessanter hier, weil der wirklich auf Regionalität aus ist. Ich zeige es euch jetzt gleich als nächstes ein Bild, aber hier geht es um, ja, was man hier unten alles so sieht. Und zwar geht es um Seetang. Das ist die Hauptzutat oder eine der Hauptzutaten in diesem Gin. Und der wird hier lokal geerntet von jemandem, der im Frühjahr diesen Zuckerseetang erntet. Und darunter tauchen die wirklich per Hand erntet. Ist aber nicht hier im Hafenbecken, das ist ein anderer Seetang, was wir hier haben. Sondern der Zuckerseetang, der ist in den Lochs, die ja, ein bisschen höher in diesen Bergen sind, und da wächst dieser Seetang und der wird im Frühjahr geerntet. Natürlich alles nachhaltig, dass man jetzt nicht zu viel erntet, denn in diesem Zuckerseehang, da wachsen irgendwelche Schnecken und das ist auch das Jagdrevier von Ottern, und also man erntet da im Frühjahr so ein paar ab und dann über die Zeit im Sommer wächst der dann nach und im nächsten Frühjahr kann man dann wieder ernten. Ist relativ schwierig, weil dieser Seetang, der muss stark getrocknet werden, sonst fängt der an irgendwo zu gammeln und zu gären und sowas. Und das wird sogar wirklich in einer lokalen Seetang-Trocken an Fabrikfirma gemacht, und den kann man nicht einfach so aufmachen. Also der ist relativ schwierig in euch zu zeigen, weil ich bin jetzt im Herbst, im Frühjahr hätte ich dann wahrscheinlich die Badehose und einen Neoprenanzug angezogen und auch mal geschaut, wie der schmeckt. Aber so ist es leider nicht möglich. Okay, ja, dann lass uns einfach mal reingehen und mal schauen, wie so dieser Gin hergestellt wird. Hier gibt es eine schöne Darstellung ihrer 8 Botanicals plus den Zuckertang, den sie hier verwenden. Den kann man leider nicht so gut darstellen, weil der muss eingeschweißt sein. Ansonsten zieht der Feuchtigkeit und fängt ziemlich schnell an zu gammeln. Ja, wir fangen einfach mal an. Hier haben wir zum Beispiel den Juniper, den Wacholder. Der ist natürlich vorgeschrieben, dass der drin sein muss, weil es muss nach Wacholder schmecken. Das ist eigentlich ihre Grundzutat, damit sie sich Gin nennen können. Und danach kommt schon der Seetang, und der ist natürlich bedeutend kräftiger mit Salzen und ja, diesem Meergeschmack. Sie verwenden aber noch bedeutend viele andere Sachen. Also wir haben hier so ein bisschen Koriander, ist auch im Grunde Standard. Hier so ein bisschen frischer gibt es hier so eine Orange, obwohl sie verwenden so ein bisschen Bitterorange. Da kann ich gleich mal reinriechen, da bin ich mal gespannt, wie... Oh ja, die ist wirklich, das ist eine Bitterorange. Das riecht eher so ein bisschen, wie man es vom Backen kennt, diese Bitterorange, das kennt man. Dann haben wir hier noch Cassis-Rinde und ja, noch eine ganze Menge andere. Auf der Tour kann man dann auch noch wirklich sehr schön sich anriechen im Grunde, was sie in die Still reinmachen. Und da merkt man schon, okay, oh ja, man sieht viel Wacholder drin, noch ein paar von diesen anderen Kügelchen hier, und es riecht schon extrem aromatisch. Und ja, was sie noch haben, ist dieses kleine Ding hier. Das ist ein Sugar Kelp Aromatic Water. Also das ist wo sie einfach nur diesen Zuckertang aromatisiert destillieren. Und das kann man sogar dann hier kaufen und noch hinzugeben, wenn man noch mehr von diesem Tang, Meergeschmack haben will, dann kann man das sogar noch dazugeben. Also das ist ein bisschen, um seinen Gin dann am Ende noch zu verfeinern. Gut, das waren die Zutaten, und jetzt zeige ich euch mal, wie die mazeriert und destilliert werden. Hinter mir ist die Gin Still. Sie heißt The Dottach. Dottach war der Name einer kleinen, temperamentvollen Frau auf einer Nachbarinsel, die eben Anderson Bakewell gekauft hat in den 60ern. Und diese Frau, also der Gründer der Brennerei. Und diese Frau war nicht so glücklich darüber, dass eben der Mann einfach diese Insel gekauft hat, und ja, hat mit ihm gestritten. Am Ende haben sie sich aber dann doch sehr gut angefreundet und ja, waren dann sehr gute Freunde, und sie war schon älter, sie ist dann irgendwann dahin geschieden, und als Erinnerung und zu ihrer Ehren hat er eben diese kleine, temperamentvolle Still nach dieser kleinen, temperamentvollen Frau benannt. Gut, das ist so ein bisschen der Hintergrund. Jetzt reden wir mal über, wie sie ihren Gin machen. Sie machen eine Mazeration. 24 Stunden wird dieser Zuckertang in einem extra Beutel und alle anderen Botanicals in einem extra Beutel in einem Bottich eingeweicht, sodass alle Geschmäcke richtig schön da rausgelöst werden können. Und was man dann macht, man füllt es um in die Gin Still und hängt den Beutel mit den Botanicals rein, den Seetang, den lässt man raus. Also der würde wahrscheinlich in der Still zu weniger guten Geschmäcke führen. Deswegen, der bleibt draußen, der Rest wird destilliert. Wobei aber die Zutaten im Kessel unterhalb der Spirit, der Alkoholüberfläche sind und nicht in der Luft hängen. Also keine Dämpfe werden hier extrahieren hier den Geschmack, sondern nur wirklich der Alkohol zieht alles raus. Was sie außerdem noch machen, ist recht interessant ist, sie haben Vorlauf, Nachlauf und ihr Herzstück. Sie verwenden nur das Herzstück und der Vorlauf und Nachlauf wird nicht recycelt, sondern weggeschmissen. Also ist natürlich weniger effizient, aber mehr Qualität. Weil man diesen Vorlauf und Nachlauf hat man natürlich ein paar Geschmäcke drin, die nicht so interessant sind. Wenn man sie öfters destilliert, werden diese Geschmäcke ein bisschen weniger, aber man hat trotzdem tendenziell immer mehr von diesen Geschmäcken noch drin. Und das will man hier nicht, deswegen wird das hier weggeworfen. Nach der Destillation wird es noch runter verdünnt mit ihrem frischen Quellwasser auf 45% und dann ist der Gin schon fertig. Und den werden wir jetzt gleich mal probieren. So, das war's mit der Produktion und jetzt geht's noch weiter mit einem kleinen Tasting für unseren Gin. So, I'm sitting here with Shona McLeod. Is that right pronounced?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So you were born and raised on the island and you joined the company here in 2014.
That's right.
And you've been here with the beginning and lovely. Thank you very much for showing us around and showing us everything.
We always love to take people around and they leave us friends always, so that's great.
Yeah, it's a lovely island. So having been raised here must be a really nice experience. And you told me that that area around here that didn't used to be, what it used to be before 2000, like...
Well, I was brought up just a few steps along from where we stood outside earlier on, just along by the
so
pier
you're
there.
like really local.
I was brought up in Tarbert, yeah. And when I was growing up, this whole area where we're sitting right now was the shoreline.
Oh, this was shore?
This was shore, yeah. The shore went right up to the back of our car park at the back of the building.
Okay.
And it was infilled at some point with a view to perhaps building a tweed visitor centre on it, but it never happened. And when the distillery came along, they were looking for various sites, and this is one that they settled on.
It should have been really a tweed workshop or a tweed shop.
Well, there were certainly plans,
and now it's a distillery.
But nothing came of that. So the land sat here, and it was seemed quite perfect for building a distillery on because, as you know, a distillery needs a fresh water source, and there's one just half a mile from here, at the top of the hill. So
and it's
this
filtered
is where they
very low minerals in there.
Yeah, softest water in Scotland, we believe. It runs over.
Whoa!
Louisian gneiss is the rock that the islands are made from, really, and that's some of
Is
the
that
oldest rock.
Like this, or
this is different. This is an orthosite, so this is quite an unusual rock that can be found in one mountain, South Harris.
Ah, okay.
But Louisian rock is what most of the islands are.
Yeah, I've heard that there's a lot of different rocks here on the Outer Hebrides.
Very old, very old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, rocks is really a big thing here.
Yeah, it's very rocky. It's a rocky place. So the rain, which we get plenty of, running down the mountain behind us here over that really ancient, millions of years old rock. Is creating very soft water.
Well, you got a lot of water around here. So you have the lochs, and there's the kelp in there, and the kelp is kind of your thing with the gin. So how was that idea created?
So we decided on sugar kelp because in the early days when the gin recipe was being developed and the distillery was being built, an ethnobotanist was taken on board to have a look locally at what botanicals might be suitable for the gin, along with the others that had been picked, which are quite often quite exotic and don't grow anywhere near Harris. And she looked at various things, and then because of our ties with the sea and our geographical location right next to the sea, she had a wee look under there and decided on that sugar kelp might be something that could be a potential botanical, which hadn't been used before anywhere for gin production at that stage.
Was it there as in the? You think you have a kelp drying?
Yeah, so the kelp grows around the coastline, obviously locally here. It's harvested by our diver Lewis Mackenzie, who dives for it specifically for us.
Okay.
And then it's processed at the Hebridean Hebridean. I have to say that again. The Hebridean whiskey plant. It's processed at the Hebridean seaweed factory in Stornoway. So they dry it, process it, and vacuum pack it, and then they deliver it to us, and we use it as a dried botanical alongside our gin.
Yeah, otherwise you could just do it like in spring when it's harvested. Otherwise, you need it dried.
It can only be harvested at certain times a year, ideally. But the diver knows which beds to go back to and to allow others to regrow, and he knows the best time of year to harvest it. So.
Okay, so you really took a look at what is locally, what makes Harris Harris, and that was the kelp.
The connection with the sea was the biggest thing for us, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I've already had that before, your gin, but I can remember that was like, whoa, this is really sea character. That's all I can remember. Let's have a look.
Okay. So if you want to try a little neat first in our tasting glasses.
So it's
and then we'll build a gin and tonic.
45.
45%, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, you have the juniper right on the nose, but you realize it's not one of these fresh ones and one of these spicy ones, but one of the seaweed ones. It's strange to say, but you don't get that very often, do you?
So we've got 9 botanicals. It's not overly botanical. Some can have kind of 22 or more botanicals. We have 8 plus the sugar kelp, so that's 9 botanicals in total. And obviously the sugar kelp gives it a maritime character, but other than that it's quite difficult to pinpoint exactly what it does. So we believe that it changes the other botanicals around it and just creates something really special flavour-wise.
I like it. But yours, I'm always excited about how round the gin is, and that is really lovely around here.
So I explained to you earlier, we discard the heads and tails when we make our gin, so it's a very clean spirit. We're just using the heart of the spirit. Very
round, I love that. Because you can just smell it when you have other spirits. Okay, let's go away from matured spirits, but other clear spirits are much more sharper. This is just so round and lovely. You can almost go in really deep without feeling any alcohol.
Yeah, even at full strength, 45%. So the botanicals I showed you earlier, you can almost visualize them when you smell it. You can go through the juniper, the spice, you know, from cassia bark, and the Java pepper.
Yeah, I can remember. That's always the nice thing when you have a little distillery tour and you smell into the botanicals, or you find it near the still. You can find so much in here again.
And when we went into the gin still room and our distiller was taking out the bag of botanicals, that smell you got directly reflects what you're getting in the glass, doesn't it?
Oh, now I get a bit of more fruitiness in here.
So we get some citrus notes from the coriander and the bitter orange peel, obviously.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
So we always recommend sampling the gin neat before you build your gin and tonic.
Takes a bit, then it kicks in with the kelp.
That's the effect that we're looking for, is major excitement and enjoyable.
Yeah, it comes on first with a classical gin, juniper, and then and you said citrus note, but more of a. It feels like grapefruit, but bitter orange,
It does feel like grapefruit, and that's why we decided to recommend serving it with grapefruit. Although coriander and orange peel are usually orange flavours, obviously. There's nothing of grapefruit specifically in there, but once it's distilled, then that's kind of the flavour we get. And then it finishes with the sugar kelp giving that kind of umami flavour at the end. It's a little bit savoury just at the very end,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, that it has that kind of, not spiciness, just volume to it that
you do get the spice,
your mouth.
and then it kind of finishes off with that.
They do have a bit of a spice,
like
but it's
savoury note.
a little spice on the side. But this umami, yeah, that's a good description for it. Like like a good, I would say, like a good cattle stew or when you boiled cattle, boiled beef.
Yeah.
A little bit
It
of
is
that.
a savoury. I think
savoury,
the sugar kelp gives a sort of savoury flavour to them.
So you recommend the grapefruit?
So let's build a gin and tonic, shall we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So obviously ice, if you like, but lots of people like to drink our gin neat.
Oh yeah,
Which I would never have done before, but I do now occasionally. So we want a nice large measure of Harris gin over some ice, served with red grapefruit. You can pour your own ratio. How do you like your gin?
Little tonic.
Half and
I've
half?
never had half and half. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Maybe a third, 2/3 tonic. It depends how you like it.
Yeah, I'll usually do half and half. That's good.
Okay.
Is that like a strong or like a?
This is a Scottish-made tonic made by a lady that we met very early on. She started producing Scottish tonic when we started making gin and whiskey here. And we met her and we tried it with our gin, and there are so many tonics on the market, as you know, hundreds of them. But we always recommend Walter Gregor because it suits our gin. It's not terribly carbonated.
Okay.
There's no artificial sweeteners in it
And
either.
this is now like really kelpy what you have here.
So this is distilled sugar kelp made by a friend of ours called Amanda, Amanda Sowden. So distilled sugar kelp, it's 22% alcohol, and it adds much more of that maritime flavour to the gin.
Oh, okay.
So do you want to take a sip without?
I'll
and then
take
we
a
can
sip
add
without,
a
and then
little.
I can see what the difference is. Oh, I like it. Also, the tonic doesn't go overboard.
Yeah. I'm not personally a fan of flavoured tonics, but it's up to everybody's individual.
Yeah, you can.
You know.
That's the thing with tonics. You can vary a lot. And
So a few drops of aromatic water.
I do like it. Here in the tonic, with the gin and tonic, it keeps that volume that it has. Comes out pretty good because of the enough juniper, and it's not one of these very sweet ones, but that's really probably from the tonic. Usually when you have the mainstream tonics, they're much sweeter.
Yeah, I think it's the excuse me, the lack of artificial sweeteners in it really helps.
Oh, okay.
You don't get that overriding flavour.
I like that. It's a very refreshing and voluminous or savoury drink.
Refreshing. Citrus, floral, refreshing. It covers quite a lot of flavour categories.
And it really feels like you're standing at the pier.
Yeah.
Whoa! I like that.
That's great. We've got a real, obviously, like I said earlier, geographic connection with the sea because we're on an island. But many people, in decades and generations gone by, went to sea. Men would go to sea to work and travel. And people we have to use the sea to travel when you live on an island.
Oh, sure.
Whether it's for numerous reasons, and but it always brings you home, the sea and the mountains. Always brings you home. So
I have to say, you captured the vicinity or the locality really good in the glass. It really has a lot of marine flavors in there, I would say. Definitely. It's strange that I always thought that the sugar kelp was growing in the sea, but it's in sweet water, right?
In sweet water.
Or like a loch, not the
it's
sea.
Sea lochs, yeah.
Like sea lochs.
Sea lochs, yeah.
Loch is not always.
Not a freshwater loch.
Not a freshwater, not sweet water. Freshwater.
So a freshwater loch is an inland loch.
Inland loch. So it's a loch that is like sea going into the.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So it is with seawater. Okay.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So the sea lochs, if we look at the map, or if you're on the ferry, they're like fjords going in sort of all the way along the coast.
Yeah, that's
so the sugar kelp is harvested from sea lochs. Yeah.
Okay, sea loch. Yeah, it's always a bit strange when you travel. It's that's a loch. Yeah, but that's also the sea. Okay, that's a loch, not the sea.
There's two types of loch: sea loch and inland freshwater loch.
Freshwater loch. Okay, yeah. So okay, that's where the salty marine flavors come from. I was like, really, freshwater loch?
I think that's what makes the gin so good is that combination of citrus and floral sweetness with the savouriness from the sugar
I
kelp.
like it that it kicked off with us. We really it sells good, and I really like it because it's far away from one of these lifestyle gins that are so sweet and just fruity sweet. But this is, I would say, it has a bit of a fresh fruity note to it, but just as a note, and the rest is just so savory, umami and voluminous. I like it.
Lots of character, just like the new make. So we decided obviously we're first and foremost a whiskey distillery, so we didn't want to be too distracted by following market trends and making lots of different types of gin. So that was one reason, but I prefer the reason that it can't get any better than what we have here. So no need to try and play around with it too much.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good product. I'm really excited about what we have with the whiskey, but that takes a bit of time. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for the experience. That was really lovely,
welcome.
and I did learn a bit about the gin making. It's always interesting to see how that stuff is made. Yeah.
Great, it was really nice to meet you and have you here for the day.
So, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and if you found this video interesting, then please feel free to share it with your friends, and see you next time.